Hey everybody, this is Galen from the King's Clothes in Omaha, Nebraska, and I'm super excited to be on this recording with you today. I wanted to, we have a lot of clients that come to the shop and then they're back out of town because they came in to visit or whatever, and so we have a lot of clients that shop from us that are in our local area, even though we're a brick and mortar storefront. So I was really encouraged to kind of put out a little, share some pictures with you guys in terms of kind of how why I started the store, and kind of my story and what's happened with the store since its fruition. And so this slide kind of shows the start of the store in terms of when we're starting a lease, uh, in terms of when we actually rented a space. Now, initially, just to give you kind of some background on myself, when I was in high school, I loved fashion. So that was quite some years ago. So this is something that has not started just 3 or 4 years ago with me. Men's fashion has always been kind of a passion of mine, that was tabled coming out of high school. And so I really started, I was interested in doing things online. And so I started with eBay and started just selling shoes, uh, and that quickly turned into me being a power seller on eBay. And then next thing you know, I was doing suits, gathering suits for not only myself, but then I started sharing them with buddies of mine. And so that turned into me serving and selling suits out of my house, as well as being a power seller with shoes on eBay. So I did that for a couple of years. And then eventually I was encouraged by one of my mentors to go ahead and open up a storefront. And that's the picture in front of you is kind of where that started. So that was inside of a little incubation space on 103rd and 4th here in Omaha. It's inside of an old Walmart, actually. There's several businesses in there, like an incubator space. So my space was about not 300 square feet. You can see I have a little cabinet in there. And so this is my wife, Michelle. She was helping me. That was our grand opening. So we had some women's purses in there, just anything that I collected, ties and things of that nature that I collected to get me started. I mean, space was bare bones. I didn't really do a lot with decor. The second slide is actually me. After I got started, I was going to a Christmas on the Christmas in the Village event here in North Omaha. And this is kind of a community event where you have several vendors coming together. And so I was gathering suits to take down there. You see the plastic bags over the top of those suits. But see the steel aluminum plumber's piping that I have in the background? Those are my shells when I first started. So I literally moved into a, 2 or 3 hundred feet square space to and put these bars together from Home Depot, me and my son and my wife, and just really started the business that way. I opened up a Facebook account, didn't really do much with it, but opened up an account so I could have some type of create some type of face with, and be able to, send things out to people. This is another picture inside the shop. I would do uh, Dooney bags and Coach bags, anything that I could find, uh, ties from the thrift store, watches and things, any collectible items I could find to kind of just bring people into the store. I just like buying high quality stuff and reselling it. I've done that for years and have wanted to do it for years. So I did, jewelry and cologne and things of that nature. This next slide is just the bare bones, this space that we're in, with piping and some suits I threw in a rack, and I got a little glass rack, as you can see off there to the side, right here, that I put my shirts in. This is a little cabinet I found at an antique shop. I put some red velvet in there and threw some ties in there and tried to find some matching chairs. And this little book here was kind of a real big part of the start of my business. One of my mentors owns a clothing store in West Omaha, and he showed me this book. And that book was written by one of the fathers of fashion. And as we do some videos, down the road, I'll get into some of those, but that's kind of where I got the proportion, color, and fit. So I started those three principles in the business and just teaching guys how to, how their clothes should fit, the colors, how they should choose their colors and why, and the proportion of their foot, their clothing in terms of how long their coats are, uh, and how to get their best look based on those three principles. And I got it out of that book. And so it's funny that I didn't even notice, but when I took this shot and pulled it, that book was sitting there, because I still have that book in the shop and recommend it to a lot of my clients. This is Jerry. He was one of my first big spenders in the shop, and he's actually a friend of mine from out of town in Michigan. He's currently now author of a couple books, does some speaking, but really into fashion. Really, that guy could probably be a model or a fashion hero if he wanted to, but just really knows how to wear clothes and knows how to put them together. Just a pure artist. So he was one of my first people that came into the shop that really appreciated me for what I did and appreciated, um, the store itself. So whenever he comes into town, he still shops with me. This is Brett. Actually, his wife works with me in another business, but he was there on a grand opening to support us that day. Come in and buy a few shirts, so it's always good to see him. You can see I had shoes in the background. This is me at the Christmas in the Village piece. I had a bunch of handbags, purses, colognes, ties, and as you can see, the shirts over the suits over in the corner. So that was my first big community event that we jumped out and did. Here I am again with some handbags and purses standing in front of a piece of art. We were at the Jazz Love Center, which is a center for art in terms of music and, uh, you know, picture art and things of that nature, as you see hanging in the back wall. Uh, then came a shift. Then I went actually for a haircut one day and saw an empty building, which is close to another one of businesses that my wife and I own. And I went inside of that building, and this is what it looked like. It used to be the barbershop that I was at getting my haircut. Actually, this is a building that's standalone right next to it. And this building you can see, had white and green because that was their brand colors. So it was a really old building on the outside and old on the inside. And I stepped inside of this building. This day, you see me over in the corner taking a picture. It was probably about 110 degrees that day, so I was over in this small little building sweating my butt off, just trying to get some vision for, can I do something with this space? And the guys next door were a barber, and then the guy next door to them was a man's mercantile shop. So he sold hair oils for your beard and beard combs, and just, it was a man shop. So having him there setting up, and then the men's barber shop, and then my store, it just made sense to open up a location here. So I did. So here's kind of the front side of it with the two windows. That's the little door, just kind of give you an idea. So as we decided to move forward on the deal, a buddy of mine who's done cabinetry for one of my other businesses drew me up plans, because I told him I wanted to have something that was focusing on, a men's clothier. So I really had the idea of doing men's clothier haberdashery type feel, dark wood, vintage cabinets, red and gold to go with my King's Clothes logo and things of that nature. So here's just two vintage cabinets I found about an hour outside of Omaha. Those are really fun. My dad took me down there to grab them. They have glass shells on the inside. I thought, man, these would be great for putting my ties in. A little bit bigger than the cabinet that I started off with. So here we are, painting the ceiling red, getting the lights together, and I actually ended up going with a different set of lights, but getting the floor together. That day, the electrician's in there. You can see we started getting the walls painted, painted the door gold, because we were really at this time using this location to really brand the business. And so we had not done that yet. And so that's kind of what we're doing. You see me here taking a picture inside of a mirror that we took from the wall from the old barber shop and put it up on the wall so guys can stand in front of the mirror and really see themselves for the first time in a suit for some of them, which really is a huge part of our business. Here's my son, Keone. He is laying down floors. Everybody in the family took a part of participating in getting this project together. So that's Keone laying down the flooring for the shop. There he is sanding, trying to get some of that old green paint off. Here's the outside of the building. Everything is pretty much the same except for, you see we did these perforated window signs, and these are kind of clips we took off of the website. There's Skylar, my older son, and Keone sanding down and staining cabinets. There's me inside of the cabinet shop, helping my cabinet guy put together. Those are actually shoe shelves for our shoe shop that he was building for us. There's the outside of the building as we got together the signage. So we went from inside of a little 200 space. This is probably about 300 square feet, this whole building. And then we, got some signage, and the deal outside got a little metal men's Clothiers sign up here and the window perforated sign. So it was quite a kind of a big deal for me. Here's me sitting down in the corner. I think this is probably the first Saturday I was open before even a soft launch. And that space, as you can see, looks a lot different. There's a gold door, and I have my own bathroom in this space. And it was kind of neat to be independent. Here's one of my clients. He's kind of a tie expert. He came in about that day and bought some 7-fold ties. Here's me by myself standing in the shop after a finished product. As you can see, we got full head lighting in the ceiling, track lighting, shoes all up top, gold foil around the edge, custom cabinetry with red countertops. It was a real step up and step out for us in terms of branding the business and just kind of investing more into the brand. Here's kind of some Isaiah ties that my guy bought that day. Here's another client, Mr. Vernon, stopping in with me on one of my first sales. And there's kind of a back end of the shop on the other side. We had velvet curtains and a velvet vintage lamp and red countertops. There's a shoe cabinet you saw me holding in the picture before. We got some velvet vintage chairs and houndstooth pillows and huge shirt racks, just a lot more size than what we had before, a lot more space, a lot more room. As we got going in the shop, we discovered the shop started being kind of a men's gathering place on Saturday mornings. It was almost like a barbershop environment. So we had a little bit of jazz playing in the background, and as guys are coming in for sales, I did these huge sales where you could get, 10 items for $100. So it really brought in guys from the community, from the military. They bring their sons in with them, and whether they were buying something or not, it just began to be a place of gathering. As you can see, these are the bags, and I'll get into these later, but these are Johnson Murphy boots all up here that I bought brand new from a vendor, as well as these bags, which now are having custom made overseas and are now available online at www.thekingsclothes, clothes with a K, thekingsclothescustom.com, which is our new website we just rolled out a couple weeks ago. So we have different handmade leather bags on there, custom shoes, and custom boots. So that's really, really exciting. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But this is a great shot with these guys hanging out with me on Saturday morning. Also, another thing that we started during that time was our King's Clothes gift cards, which is a great option for Christmas shopping, things of that nature. There's another client, Ralph, who came in and bought a couple of nice, trying to remember the name of these watches. I think they were, I can't remember the name of them, but they're a big replica, Russian replica diver watches that I had. I bought a collection of them. I have 40 or 50 of these watches, and I think they're all gone by now. But Those were a real big hit when I had them in the shop. A couple Dooney and Burke Coach purses that Ralph came in and got for his wife. As you can see, we were selling hats and scarves. That was going into the winter a couple years ago. So Ralph came in to get some stuff for himself and for his wife. This is our second event. This is the African American Leadership Conference. I think Soledad O'Brien was the speaker that year. This was a couple years ago back, and this is one of my I think the second event I did with the same organization that I did Christmas in the Village with. But I had some pocket squares and cufflinks, and other classic cufflinks, ties, watches. I was just doing my thing that day, and it was a really good day for us. We sold a lot of stuff and grabbed a lot of potential clients. So it was a good conference that day. There I am talking to a gentleman. I think that's Wayne. This is one of the messenger bags I was talking about that we have made. These are custom goat leather bags that are available on our site. That's a laptop version there. Now we had all these different things going. We're starting to develop, our bags, starting to get more into men's shoes. And then this was January actually of this year. So fast forward. The unexpected happened. January 14th, I believe that day was, and boom. So I was not in the building. This was a Sunday night, January 14th. The owner of the building called me and said, "Hey man, somebody ran into your building." And I was serving at church actually that evening, and came into this scenario with kind of really butterflies in my stomach. I really didn't know what to think about it. I wasn't really angry or upset or mad, just kind of shocked, but really was wondering, what's the next step? Because we really had catapulted the business by opening up this second location, and had just at this time, maybe 3 or 4 months before this, closed down our first location, and we're full-time at this location here because it was closer to one of my other businesses, and it just made sense. And then this happens. So I'm not really sure at this point, what we're going to do. Here's a closer view, and obviously the truck ran through the walls of the business. And keep in mind, this building's only about 300 square feet inside. So, I mean, his license plate was across the floor on the inside. I have some other pictures here structurally of how, it was literally when they pulled the truck out, there was a hole in the wall. I mean, it was just crazy. As you can see, this was the wall where I had all those shirts up. All that had come down, and he literally drove through there. There's a shoe cabinet, so it was quite a mess. Ironically, during this time when I had my clothes in storage, I got a call from a friend of mine saying she wanted to do a fashion show downtown. I wanted to know if I wanted to do the men's part, and this is her right here. Shemaya and her friend, and they're basically, asked me to do the men's part of this fashion show, and I had never done one before. It was in a really, really nice venue, and I thought, man, my clothes are in storage. I don't know what's going to happen to my business, but here's an opportunity, and I really, was going to pass it up, but my wife really encouraged me. My wife Michelle really encouraged me to just jump in and do it. She said, "You do everything else by faith, why not do this? So don't worry about the shop. Just go ahead and do this." I apologize. I'm at my shop right now, and my light keeps cutting off because of lack of motion. So anyways, and let me go ahead and just turn that back on. So Rochelle, who's standing behind me, was our coordinator, and Rochelle used to be a model, so she's not only good at modeling but knows how fashion shows work. So she and Shemaya pulled me into this experience, and it was downtown Omaha at the Performing Arts Center, which is an excellent venue. And so we jumped and we did it. So we got all our guys together and just did it. There's me coming down the runway. I apologize for how blurry the pictures are. Here's one of our guys, and I just pulled on the guys that come in and shop with me, based on their size. And, I knew, these are guys that I know pretty well. This is Jeremiah. He's actually a barber, but he's a smaller guy. I knew would fit him. So this is our floral run that we did to match. This is a spring summer fashion show. So I put these guys in floral jackets, jeans, and nice shoes. And so that's what you're seeing here. This is LaRon. He owns a gym. He's a good friend of ours, but also shops with me. So he's there in a really intricate men's shirt with the velvet trim collars. This guy actually just volunteered for the fashion show because we needed a taller guy, and he really wanted to model, and he had a great time. So as you can see, there's a lot of people there. It's a packed house. This is a good buddy of mine too. He's a fashion connoisseur as well. He's actually got his own bow tie company and a book out called Why I Wear My Bow Tie. So he's there with some English riding boots and one of our messenger bags on the back. This is Kylan. He's actually an author and an engineer and real estate guy, does a little bit of everything, but really, really powerful young man. Great family. He's wearing a floral jacket there too on a runway. This is Rigo, my friend. Rigo's one of my first customers when I moved down to the second location. He's a military guy and he's brought a lot of young men, mentors a lot of guys, and values what I say as well. So we really helped him kind of turn his presentation around in terms of business casual and casual. So he was here in a double-breasted get-up with a nice blue pocket square. This is my son, Keone, who did not want to participate, but initially this is his first weekend up with his man bunny, and so we kind of convinced him to jump in one of these jackets, and he just had a great time. After he got involved with us, he's got some matching Converse on. He did really well and stole the show. Here's the start of the show. Here's my guys at the end. There's Keone in the center. So as that's happening, we're moving on back to our original location. These are my friends that came down to support me for the Damon's wife, Chiffon, to the other side of me there, my wife, Michelle, to my left, and Heather and LaRon, who LaRon was in the show. And they came down to support me for my first and only fashion show I'd ever been in. And literally as this is going on, we're moving into, there's another shot of, this is Shemaya's husband, Lamont, in front of our wives there. And this is part of the venue on the runway. As you can see, big tall columns and the glass outside, and you can see all the way out into the city. It's a beautiful venue. So as this was going on, we're literally moving back into our old location, but across the hall, which is where we're located now. So we took the old cabinetry from out of the second location and moved it back into across the hall from the old location. I mean, from the first original location. So those are the actual same cabinets. You can see that's the same lamp. And what we did was, instead of doing one unit, we cut a hole in the wall and did two. So we're actually on one side looking into the other side. Here's another event we did called the Young Lions Conference. And this is with a client of mine carrying a leather shoulder bag, one of our products from off our site. So we're doing that conference that weekend. There's me. That's in one of after we kind of got the shop going, right after the fashion show, one of my first Saturdays open. And I'm kind of just, posing, doing my thing there. And we've even actually moved the shop and kind of remodeled even since we moved in again. There's DeWine. We actually ended up doing his wedding. And we see we have a custom ordered jacket there that we did for him. And there's Alan, another one of my frequent clients. I actually went to high school with Alan. So that's the first time I'd seen him in a while, but he came in and saw me. There's DeWine again. And you see how that shoe rack is there on that wall? That's been changed over too. Changed out and changed over. There's some of our custom shoes there, wing tips, and there's a monk strap, suede Cole Haans. This is a custom button shoe right here. There's a pair of Salvatore Ferragamo's. I mean, we have all kinds of stuff. There's a tasseled loafer right there. I think that's a Magnani, maybe. There's Dewan and his actual wedding jacket that I ordered for him. So we do a lot of custom orders, you know, pre-owned custom orders, and we're now have rolled into custom gear. There's Rigo in front of right before we did our second renovation on this site, in front of our #King sign. Rigo's wardrobe is just, I mean, the brother just stepped up. Look at the confidence on his face. I love it. There's me and Rigo again on a Saturday taking a picture. Me in here on a Saturday. There's another one of my clients, Robert. This kid actually comes in for he lives about an hour and a half away from the shop, and he comes in to kind of step up his wardrobe. This day he bought a pair of the button. I had these made with my shoemaker. This is a loafer button shoe. So it's got brown suede up here, 3 buttons, and then a cap toe blue leather. He bought the, you know, blue tie, blue pocket square, blue suit. So he cleaned up that day. This is a good friend and mentor of mine, Jermone. He runs a millennial church out of Michigan. He's there buying a round bag with me too. He's also a favorite customer of mine, you know, a big fan of ours. There he is getting married again to his beautiful wife. We were actually at the wedding, so we went to see them get joined. There's our new shop. We're back in the old space where we cut out the hole in the wall. So this is actually a recent picture when I turned the cabinets sideways and got rid of one of my other cabinets. This is us rebranding. We got custom hangers, custom bags. And then this is a shot of me at inside of the shop in front of our custom cabinet. But I took that picture because that represents another transition in our business where Facebook called me about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago and said they're coming in town for this community boost, and they're considering using my business to advertise, to show people how you could build your business using Facebook. And so they sent me a bunch of questions. I answered them, and you know, I waited because they said they'd follow back up with me. And so eventually they did call me back. They came to Omaha and they asked me to be on the panel. And so I'll show you some pictures later with that. And that actually happened just a couple weeks ago. So here's a picture of some red leather and some red heads. I ordered red gloss fiberglass heads, mannequins to put inside the shop. I use these to put hats on, but it's just kind of a way for me to really bring my brand out. I talked to a guy on the East Coast, a friend of mine he runs a company called Bespoke Not Broke, and he does a shop kind of like ours, but he does primarily vintage. And he's got 4 or 5 pop-up locations. I mean, he's just really, really doing it. I kind of look up to him in terms of as we branded out the business. So he showed me a contact, and we were able to get a really nice gold foil and redid our brand. So it's a little bit easier brand to, put on business cards and bags. And, you know, if I want to do shirts or something like that, it's just a lot easier. And so this picture kind of represents that transition of branding that we were doing. This is a picture of me recently in this houndstooth jacket that I just love. This jacket is really, this jacket is really kind of a presentation of when we moved the shoe cabinet over to the wall and built our custom cabinet. Then this is our phase where we're starting to push out content in terms of to really help our guys and really pushing those principles that we built a business on: proportion, color, and fit. So I've been talking those principles since we opened this practice of building men through our men's clothier. We've been talking about those principles inside the shop, but we really never took it outside in terms of branding what we do and who we are and how we help men and develop them by empowering them with their personal presentation. We really didn't do that until now. And so now, as we're rolling out our website and changing our brand, and we've moved back over to our original spot, we've been pushing out videos on proportion, color, and fit. And this is a picture of kind of a piece of one of those videos as we're giving guys tips on how to empower their personal presentation using proportion, color, and fit. Here's me in front of my custom cabinet, a nice black and white shop. This is just a picture that, I like to do close-ups like this, just capturing detail. This is one of my custom shirts. We're actually rolling out, and I'll talk about this in a little bit too, but we're rolling out our custom shirts, custom jackets, sport coats, and suits and shoes as well. So our own line that we're having custom made for us. This is just a picture of one of my shirts that's custom. It's got the red buttonhole there. Just trying to show that detail. Here's one of the lines we carry in our shop. Cole Haan hybrid shoe. Here's one of my first cuts of mine. Actually, I've changed the logo again. This is an old logo. So now they're red. They look just like our business card and our bags. But here's an automatic watch. It's enamel cufflinks we put with one of our custom shirts that we had done. So here's our new label. So that matches our business card and our bag. Sorry about that. And let's go ahead and turn this down so we don't have any more of those. So yeah, they came out really nice. So now we're in the middle of, promoting those. Here's a inside label of our suit line. So here's a blend plaid suit with the lining. I designed the linings, the suits, the buttonholes, all the trimmings, the lapels, the cut of the pants, the cut of the suits, everything I give input on based on what my clients want. These are actually sample suits right here, just so we have these in that custom cabinet that I had taken a picture of in front of. We have those inside the shop so guys can touch the suits, the shirts, and the shoes so they can get a full finished look and feel of what the actual product and fabric comes out like. And that's why we have those in here. Here's actually a Carmina shoe that I saw online. This is just an example. We could build a shoe just like these for our brand. This just kind of gives guys an idea of a shoe. I really like this brand as well. So that's actually a repost. Here's just some 2.0 Cole Haans that we sell inside of the shop, coupled with a white watch. We do a lot of putting things together. I put two of these pictures in here just to kind of remind me to go back to that. So we did actually do the community boost event. Initially they just wanted to feature our business. Then they called me back and said, hey, we want you to be a panelist and show other businesses to give examples or give you some questions and just talk about how you use Facebook and even Instagram to build your business. So us being a business where we don't spend a lot of money on advertising, we're really small, under 500 square foot space, very boutique-ish, very niched, very one-on-one with our clients. We're only open one day a week, Saturdays from like 9 to 2, which is like a half a day. And then everything else is by appointment because we really want to connect one-on-one with our clients and figure out what it is that they're trying to do, where they're going, what are their goals, and really get to know them as a person, and then build a wardrobe to support where they're going. So, we're not just a suit shop. We're much more than that. We're building men, and we do a plethora of different things. So we do the whole wardrobe. We do everything from details from the lapel pin to custom suits, custom shirts, custom shoes. We sell socks, lapel pins, neckties, bow ties, shirts, You know, we do everything from the off the rack, but we help them put it together. So guys come in here, they spend 2, 3 hours with me sometimes, you know, getting to know them and figuring out what kind of look we want to put together based on where they're going. There's another snapshot of the video. This is uh, one of our last slides. Just want to remind you of the King's Clothes Custom, KINGSKLOTHESCUSTOM.com. This is the link on our Instagram page. This is the site. We just did a soft launch. We haven't even really pushed it yet, but we just did a soft launch. We sell custom boots, bags, and shoes. So we can do low top shoes, any type of shoe, uh, a derby, a wingtips, brogues. We can mix, you know, suedes and leathers, vinyls, things of that nature. Boots. We can do double monk, single monk, um, derbies, brogues. What's the other kind of shoe? Oxfords. So any type and style of men's shoe, we can do casual, you know, city boots, I call them, or we can do dress boots with a pointed toe. So we have a lot of flexibility with what we can design and make and build for you. And then we have leather bags. So we have messenger bags, uh, shoulder bags, crossbody bags, duffel bags, extra large, round shape, you know, overnight bags, traveling bags. So go to our site, check them out. With the shoes, you can even send us an email of the shoe that you want, and we can build that shoe. It doesn't have to be a shoe that's on the site. But I am pushing out more pictures of bags and boots and shoes so you can have more choices on the website. But go to that site and check us out, www.thekingsclothescustom.com. Here I am on stage at the Community Boost event um, with these two ladies. One of them is a photographer, and the other owns a Vietnamese sandwich shop. So that was a really interesting dynamic. Um, this lady here is moderating. She's actually one of the VPs of the regional area for Facebook. And this is here in Omaha. So yeah, there's a great opportunity to stand on stage and really impact people with how we've used the Facebook technology and Instagram formats to increase our business. Here I am with the microphone. I think somebody actually recorded me, but one of my friends from out of the audience. And here I am standing with the other panelists. Had a really good time with these ladies. Um, it was an awesome time, awesome experience. So yeah, I just wanted to wrap up. I told you about the bags, boots, and custom shoes. Go ahead and check us out on the King's Clothes Instagram site, kingsclothescustom.com. Our link is on the site. Thank you for joining us today. I just wanted to kind of put some pictures together and tell my story because we've had so many little and big things happen in our boutique store. And then also as we're transitioning out and building custom and pushing out information on the web and here locally in Omaha to help guys by video, to give instruction, as well as rolling out our custom boots bag and custom boots bag and shoes web page. So we got a lot going. Just want to show you kind of how we got there and why we do what we do and who we help. So thanks for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. If you have any questions, my number is 402-616-4275. Just wanted to send out some pictures in this webinar just so you guys see I'm a real guy with a real family. I have real products and services. So as you're looking at my bags and custom shoes, know that this is something that I'm very passionate about. This is something I've been doing a really long time. Even though we're just starting the brick and mortar business 3.5 years ago, you know, I was voted best dressed 25 years ago when I was coming out of high school. So fashion and men's clothing is something, and impacting men and building men is something I've been very passionate about doing and developing for years. It just so happens now we're getting to this measure of life where we're coming out with actual products, actual services that we can really impact men with as well as their families, and showing them how to give their best presentation based on where they're going and just building a relationship with them. So thanks. That's all. This is Galen with the King's Clothes signing out. Thanks for joining us today. And just remember one thing: if you're a king, you should dress like one.